Well, hello, and welcome to the Hypno Fairy Godmother Show. I am so glad that you found me today. Today's a little crazy here at the studio slash room, but we are here and we are ready to go. So, if you don't know me, I am Shirley Ance, clinical hypnotherapist with a private practice here in Southern California, advocate, mental health first responder, crisis counselor, jack of all trades. Here at Whispering Zen Hypnotherapy and Wellness. So, thank you again for coming to the show where you can come as you are and leave as you want to be because we are open, ready, and loving what we do. Do you wish you could more freely enjoy a more healthy habit or just get back to feeling like a better you? Then I am the person to talk to. Because although I do specialize in working with the LGBTQIA community, I welcome and I work with everyone. Absolutely everyone. I have clients young, old, gay, straight, whatever your fancy is. So if you need help, you can always set up and do a consultation or a book online at whisperingzenhypnotherapy.com. So this is the new and keep on improving show. We're on all kinds of media sites. I'm going live right now on 4 different ones as it is. So depending on where you found me, you can always say hi, let me know what's going on. I am always there. Even if I don't respond to your comments right away, I will get back to you because I like to make sure that y'all know that I am paying attention, which I am. And today, if you hear something weird in the background, um, one of my little darlings that I have that I thought was in the front room just opened up the door to the studio, so you might hear some jingling or whatever. Just ignore it. It's just part of the fun. It's part of the fun and part of the action. So let's get this party started with a nice big deep breath. Hold it and exhale with a smile because that's how we always want to start the day. And for this next part, it's all about being in a nice, safe place, being in a place where you're not trying to handle things, where you're not trying, depending on what you're doing. You don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to be driving. You don't want to close your eyes. You don't want to be working on something for work. I just want to make sure that, you are in that nice, safe place. So we're going to start out by wiggling our toes because that's what we do. We wiggle our toes. Got to get that blood circulating. Wiggling your toes. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to wiggle that butt. Come on, wiggle your buns. Wiggle your buns. Squeeze in those cheeks. Getting more blood circulating. Plus, it's always fun to wiggle your butt. Next thing I want you to do, take one more nice deep breath. And this time, I want you to exhale with an affirmation. Something like, we got this. We're going to make it. Because the whole idea is to tell yourself something positive that will help you get through the day, get through the week, sometimes just get through the next hour. In my case, sometimes it's just trying to get through the next hour, especially since I've got this little bit of chaos happening in the other room. I do a lot of breathing these days, which is good because that's what you need to do. You need to focus, be in the moment, be breathing, you know. If you've got a little extra time, get those ankles moving, get that core moving, rotate the head. Oh, yeah. Here we go. And in just that short amount of time, you have now relaxed everything from your toes to your nose and above, and we've got things moving and circulating, and it's all kinds of fun. Because, sometimes if we've been sitting all day in one spot and we kind of get into this habit when we're working that we forget to move. I know it sounds weird. We forget to move. We forget to drink water. We forget to do everything because we get so focused in what we're doing that we tend to forget what's going on. And, you need to do that. You need to keep mindfulness, keep the moment. I like to tell my clients sometimes to set a little timer on your phone or your watch or however you set little timers for every hour, max every 2 hours. And what you need to do is get up wherever you're at, office, desk, home, wherever it is, and you've been sitting there the whole time. Get up, walk around, dance around, skip around, do whatever around, um, and go get a drink of water. Go fill up your water, go fill up your coffee, go fill up whatever it is. But what that does is that gets you moving, and I forget to do it too. So I set my little timer. Plus, if I'm working in the office, I have post-it notes on my big screen that say, get up and drink some water, because it is really easy to forget these little things, and you never want to do that. Um, so, today, kind of in mindfulness, remind yourself how important it is to move and drink water and everything. So now that you're with me today, um, I get asked about different types of hypnosis, different types of mental health therapy, and I'd like to incorporate little things. And one of the things that I've been thinking about this week, while I've been trying to stay mindful and while I've been trying to, absorb everything, is I always talk about doing something for you, self-compassion. I talk, you know, about the self-compassion pause, about self-compassion, taking care of you first. Because as we know, if you don't take care of you, then you can't take care of anybody else. It's the put on the mask first in the airplane and then take care of everybody else. Because if you don't take care of yourself, then you're running low on you time and energy and focus, and you have to take care of you. So a lot of us have a problem. I am one of them. But, why is self-compassion so hard? And I've been reading these articles from the Melbourne Psychology Association, which I know sounds a little strange, but, wondering why self-compassion is so hard for us to do. And self-compassion is just responding kindly to yourself in moments that you need care and you need understanding. And it sounds really simple, but it's really not. And it's something that most of us struggle with some extent. Some of us struggle with it a lot, you know, looking out for you first. Some of us struggle with it a little bit, but just think of how important it is to take care of you, given that self-compassion is one of the key factors to good mental health. See, you knew this was going to roll around to your mental health. And when you give yourself self-compassion, it's so important because understanding it is so challenging to actually relate to yourself in a way that can be incredibly helpful and just may be the key to unlocking your self-compassion, or at least opening it up a little bit. How often do you give all your energy to somebody else, or your work, or your family? And I'm not telling you not to do these things. What I'm telling you is that how important it is that you take care of yourself first. So why is it so difficult to be kind to yourself? Why is it? Why do you have these problems? And the best way that we can relate to these things is during moments of suffering or pain. Sorry, I was getting all kinds of weird text messages and it was distracting and I needed to take care of it. So I apologize to everybody. But self-compassion is being hard to relate, the way that we relate to ourselves in moments of suffering. And it largely stems from when we were young. and how to take care of ourselves when emotions come up. In other words, the way that your parents or your caregivers responded to your emotions is likely the way that you still, as an adult, if you're an adult listening, it's how you still respond to how things were when you were a child. If you were dismissed or ignored, you might have a lot of trouble recognizing your own emotional needs. Think about how things were when you were a kid. You might also feel numb or almost detached from what you feel and what you need. And these are things that are important. These are things that are really important. And if you were punished a lot, then you might feel angry with yourself when you feel emotions arising. And emotions are important. Emotions are really important. But, if you were punished every time you had an emotion, then you're gonna not want to deal with them. And we have to do this. If you were teased when you were emotional, even if it was just what they call friendly teasing, we've all been there. But you might find yourself feeling embarrassed or ashamed, as an adult when emotions come up. How you treated as a kid, were you teased? Were you punished? And especially for men, a lot of times men are taught to not show emotion, to ignore it, to man up, whatever the hell that means. And so when you have emotions that are strong, how do you deal with them? A lot of men don't take the time to take care of themselves because you've been taught your entire life how to do things, how not to do things, how to handle things. If you are criticized, you might even attack yourself and feel ashamed of having needs and having these wants to do self-care. Sometimes it can feel like you're having this little war in your head between the part of you that may feel sad and hurt or anxious and the part of you that says, this is totally ridiculous. Snap out of it and harden everything up. And you're having this little back and forth with yourself, which obviously is not good for your mental health. It is so not good for your mental health. And all of these experiences can lead us to steer totally clear of our own emotions. And as adults, because emotions equal feelings about yourself. And most people don't like to acknowledge that they have weird feelings about themselves or that they have feelings. A lot of times people feel like they're the caregiver. And as the caregiver and as the person that handles everything, then, you're not good at handling your own emotions, which means you're really bad at handling your own self-care, which means that that's really bad for your mental health. It's a rolling thing. It's like this leads to this, leads to this, and how you deal with things. How did your family, your parents, your caregivers react? How did they respond when you got upset? And think about it. Do you mimic that response when emotions come up for you now? Is the voice inside your head similar to what you were told and what you were witnessed as a kid? Kids learn from what they see. Kids learn from what other people are doing, and they will mimic that. So if you heard growing up that you need to be strong and you need to be the man of the house, or you need to be the adult, or you need to take care of this and take care of this and you're responsible, how does that affect you now as an adult? We're not taught. We are the worst in this country to handle emotions. to handle situations. We are not prepared because nobody likes to talk about mental health until it boils up inside of you and you just let it all out. And sometimes that's good, and sometimes that can be even more damaging. And we don't want it to be that, because the messages that we receive is how we respond to ourselves. And if it's not with kindness and care, then it's going to feel, you're not used to it. So if you're giving yourself kindness and caring about yourself and taking care of yourself, it's going to feel strange. It might even feel ridiculous or pointless and bring up feelings of disgust and anger towards yourself. And this isn't the way. And if it's bringing up those feelings, then we're not taking care of ourselves. We are absolutely not taking care of ourselves. And what we need to do is develop the ability to be compassionate towards ourselves and strengthen the aspect of who you are. And it's gonna take time. This is not something that one day you just wake up and you go, okay, got it. Now I'm gonna be better to myself. And this is what I need to do. And this is how I'm gonna handle it. And I am absolutely fine now. And everything is brilliant. So I can just move on. It would be lovely if that happened, but that generally doesn't happen. After all, if it was straightforward, we would all be doing it. Think about it. If it was easy, why wouldn't everybody do it? And most of us have painful or confusing blocks in this particular area, especially if we have this history of trauma in our childhood. Now, trauma can be little t trauma or big T trauma. All of us have kind of a little, well, not all. I don't want to say all because that's a huge word. So how about, how your parents reacted. So if you have little t trauma, so your parents handled certain things, did they handle emotions well? Did they fight in front of you? Did they correct you and tell you to do this and, give you all these responsibilities? Or if you had major trauma like child abuse or any type of abuse like that, that's a little bit bigger T trauma. And those are harder to get a handle on. So what we want to do is, how you handled things as a kid and how you were handled as a kid is really important for you to understand, that it's okay. It's okay to actually take care of yourself. And if you find it hard to be kind to yourself in moments when you need them the most, just it's a slow process where you're working through the barriers. And you may need to find a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a counselor, anger management counselor, crisis counselor, whatever you need to do, because these are things that, you need to handle. Psychologists, are really good at handling these challenges. And, they can help you kind of figure out why it is that you're relating to yourself in these ways that are really tricky. And they can give you some ideas on how to get around the barriers. Now, with my clients, I do the same thing. It's like one of those advantages to being, a wellness coach and a crisis counselor, as well as being a hypnotherapist. We kind of use all those things and figure out where the trauma started. And then we kind of work forward. Now, I don't believe in what they call root to cause. So let's not relive it. To me, the worst thing that you can do is you have to relive the trauma. Nobody wants to relive the trauma. But we need to acknowledge where it started and work our way through it. And that's okay. That's all right. That's what we do. It's cool. So different ways that we can help ourselves when these things happen. There's outside help and there's inside help. And, use your senses to get grounded. I'm always talking about getting grounded, and sometimes that means mindfulness, but tune into all your senses and name, do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1s, the things that you can see, the things that you can smell, taste, touch, hear, you know, 4 or 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can smell around you, 2 things that you can hear, something you can smell that's in your atmosphere. And then tell yourself, after you take a nice deep breath, tell yourself something that you know, something positive that you know. You know you're going to be okay. You know that you're going to be able to work through this. You know that, you may have had a moment of, oh my God, but you know that you're going to be okay. Sometimes ways to ground yourself is to go out in the grass, if you have a grassy area, and take off your shoes and socks and just walk around. Walk around, feel the earth beneath your feet. Become aware of the sensation of the earth underneath you. Sometimes we need to get grounded. I love going to the beach and getting my toes in the sand and feeling that connectiveness that you have with the earth. That connectiveness that you feel with the ground. Hug a tree, just little stuff like that. Or maybe take a really long hot shower and be mindful of the water running all over your body. Maybe if you can't stop and take a shower, which I totally understand, in the middle of the day, it's a little harder, but maybe run cool or warm water over your hands. Splash your face a little bit. Be in that moment of recharging, of feeling it. Stop and listen to the sounds around you. Go outside. Get some air. It's all about getting some air and getting some groundedness. Be aware of the sounds that are close by. Sometimes we don't live incredibly close to train tracks, but when I listen really hard and I know what the schedule is of this train, I can sit out there and I can hear the train. We have planes that fly over our heads and helicopters that fly over our heads, and I can hear that, and I can almost feel the vibration sometimes. Tune into the subtle sounds, as well as the obvious ones. What do you hear? Do you hear dogs barking in the background? Do you hear, what is it that you hear? Do you hear sirens? Expand. You may need to start out close and you kind of train yourself and you'll get better and better at it. But expand your attention outwards so that you're focusing on the sounds at a distance. And again, try to focus on the less obvious sounds as well as the most dominant sounds. So it's easier for me to hear the planes going and the helicopters going over our head because we are relatively close to a little airport. But, if I pay attention, I can hear the train, which is a more subtle sound, and I have to focus. And I've kind of had to train myself that, this is cool and I can hear that. Maybe smell, your favorite perfume or a scent or an essential oil. And, something familiar to you. Our house tends to smell like sage and Palo Santo because we go through those a lot. But, do you have a scent that brings back a happy memory? Maybe it's a flower. Maybe it's a perfume. I have a favorite perfume that they no longer make. And so what little I have left, I wear on special occasions. And it's interesting because, I'll wear it and my wife is like, "Who are you trying to impress?" And sometimes I wear it for her because it brings up happy memories. But sometimes I wear it for me because it brings up happy times, on times that we went out, on different dates, on different things, you know. It's just that subtle smell. Maybe it's a perfume that you used to wear or a perfume that a loved one used to wear. Um, I love the smell of certain types of tobacco because, my dad always smoked a pipe. So that smell of tobacco brings up happy memories for me and it makes me feel calm. Just, little things. When you eat things, practice mindful eating. And what that means is take one thing at a time. If you're going to eat a piece of fruit or a piece of chocolate, slowly and mindfully be aware of the taste and the textures. Don't just gobble stuff down. Some of us eat really, really fast and you're not enjoying it. You know, don't just eat for eating's sake. Enjoy what you're eating. Enjoy that treat that you're giving yourself. That little piece of whatever it is that makes you smile. Um, as weird as it is, I have a thing for stale peeps. Not fresh peeps, but stale peeps. And when I eat one, once they're at that really good stage, it makes me smile because it brings up all these memories. And it brings up the memories of the person that got me eating stale peeps and my best friend that used to eat stale peeps with me. So the little subtle things. Maybe if you can, go out and get a little mini massage, a little rub on the shoulders, or start on your feet. Some people really love their feet being handled and massaged, and maybe your legs. Move yourself, depending on how you feel about it. Some people are really weird about people touching them. Totally get it. But sometimes just a little foot spa, that vibration and the bubbles and the relaxingness, the way it makes you feel is pretty incredible. If you can, I sometimes it says imagine, and I always go with imagine, pretend, you know picture, pretend, or imagine, because some people are really bad at imagining, some people are better at picturing, some people, you know picture, pretend, or imagine, however you can do it. Imagine yourself in a safe place, in your favorite place that's soothing and calm, a comfortable place. A lot of times with my clients, what I like to do is I give them a safe room that they can go into in their head that nobody else can get into. But sometimes I have you picture, like when I think of my safe place, it's a specific location that I love to go to that I don't get to go to very often, but I can imagine it and I can picture it. And I'm not good at imagining. I'm just really not. So sometimes I have to pretend and sometimes I have to kind of picture it, but it's in there in my brain. And ask yourself as you're doing that, imagine as much detail as you can. What does it look like? What's around you when you're there? What does it smell like when you're there? Are there specific sounds that you can hear? What's the temperature? Is there a breeze or is it super sunny? Are you sitting or standing? Are you walking through that area and enjoying it? And take that feeling and notice what it feels like to be completely calm and peaceful. Notice how your body changes and your mind changes when you can imagine yourself in this space, you know, and you don't have to name it and you don't have to tag it, but make a mental note of this place so you can bring it back, and if you want help, making that secret room or figuring out a way to lock in that place, that's when it comes in handy for you to make an appointment or a consultation and we can talk about it. How to set yourself up in a wonderful, wonderful, safe place and that calming place. You know, it's something that I really love to do. And while you're doing this, ground yourself through going through it in the moment. Take when you're outside and you're getting that walk, take a stroll, a slow stroll around the block, through the park, turning those feelings into your body moving and getting that. Feel your legs taking those strides. The sensation you feel as your feet are hitting the ground and you're moving your arms and you're walking your whole body, and you could be dancing and skipping and however your body feels. If you feel like going to the gym or going for a swim, however you get your exercise. Sometimes it's just a matter of taking a walk around the block. Take a walk around the block. Sometimes if you can't get out, maybe jump up and down, have sound around you, some way to make contact. Like I said, take off your shoes and socks, go walk around. My favorite thing is barefooting. So, I can feel the ground underneath me. I can feel it, I'm one of those crazy earth people. So I love to feel it, and I can almost feel the vibration through the ground. Dance if you want to. I'm all about the crazy dancing. Dance like nobody's paying attention to you, because guess what? Nobody's paying attention to you. I will dance in line. I will, at the beginning of COVID, we used to have great big lines to get into the store, and I would turn on my music and I would just break it down. And I know that people were seeing me, and it would make some of them laugh. It's okay, because you know what? That brightened up their day, and I figure, what the heck? What are they going to do? The worst that they can do, well, worse, but the most that they're going to do is tell somebody about it. And that person's going to smile and laugh too, because they're going, you're not going to believe what I saw this crazy person do today. It's all right. Once it's done, it's done. You can be somebody else's crazy person. I don't mind being weird. I am actually kind of known for being weird. And I live that. And I'm okay. The best thing that can happen is somebody sees me doing it and they start dancing too. And when your crazy matches somebody else's crazy, we're all happy. But give yourself time to learn how to ground too. This is like everything else. It's not going to happen immediately and automatically. You have to learn self-compassion. You have to learn to take care of yourself. For some people, it's super easy and they have no problem with it and they can just adjust. They maybe do yoga, they maybe do Tai Chi, they do meditations. And when you do stuff like that, it's a lot easier to ground yourself. If you don't do these things, then it's going to take a little while. But it means so much to be taking care of yourself. Like learning anything, learning the piano, learning to sew, learning whatever. It's a process. I wish I could give you the happy clappy, do it and it works session. I've been doing hypnosis for a long time. I've been doing grounding for even longer because I had to learn how to ground myself so I didn't go a little crazy. So it's possible. And if someone like me can learn how to ground and learn how to do it, trust me, you can too. But be kind to yourself while you're learning how to do it. If you try something and it doesn't work, that's okay. If you're feeling overwhelmed, Little steps, little baby steps. It's okay. You tried it. You tried one thing. If it doesn't work and it feels weird and you're like, yeah, that's just not my gig, that's fine. Try something else. I'm not telling you that you have to do everything that I tell you to do. What I'm saying is, here's some hints, here's some tips, here are some things that I do. Here are some things that other people I know and trust do. And see what works for you. You know, you may live in an area where there isn't a park nearby, or there's not a big grassy area nearby, and you may have to drive out to a place. Find your happiness. I have a room that I call my little Zen den. It's my place. I get to craft in here. I get to do other things in here. I get to shut the door and lock out the world and zone and create. And sometimes I need to create. And if you need to create, that's your gig. That's your time of Zen. That's your time of relaxation. But you need to be, nice to yourself. Jot down what works. Actually, you can jot down what doesn't work. And go, write down what it was, put a line, put nope. And that's fine. Nobody's going to see your list. This is all for you. And when you're feeling overwhelmed and flooded, having that list is really useful, because then you're not repeating. Sometimes we kind of forget what we did, so we don't want to do that. And different people need different grounding techniques. It's okay. When I was first learning how to do self-hypnosis, it was horrible. Oh my God. I had all the training. I had all the skills. I had everything that I needed to do, but it just wasn't hitting until I found somebody else who showed me a different way of doing it. And then all of a sudden it made total sense. And those are the things that I try to teach my clients, because who doesn't want to know how to calm themselves and take away, the anxiety. And, if you want to learn more grounding skills, get some help. Make a consultation with me. We can work on grounding. When people contact me, or you contact psychiatrists, psychologists, whatever, hypnotherapists, have in mind, what you want to do. And if they tell you this is absolutely what you have to do and there's no change, it's like black or white, do it, don't do it, that's wrong. You go to it, you listen to what they have to say, but I believe in working as a team. And if you come to me and you say, okay, I've already tried this and it's not working for me, I may say, well, why don't we try it again, but try it this way? That's different. If I say, nope, you're wrong, you have to do it, you may want to find somebody else. So I don't believe in one way or the other, that there's one set way of doing grounding or one set way of doing self-compassion. You have to work with that person, and depending on your individual circumstances, do what you need to do, and if you're interested in finding out more, I'm always here. And you can find me everywhere, all over social media. You just look for Hypno Fairy Godmother. I'm on all the social media. I am Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, you name it, I am there. I am even doing TikToks on occasion to just let you know that it's okay. And sometimes the first step is just leaving your house, getting out there, knowing that it's going to be okay, convincing yourself that you're going to be okay, doing your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1s, doing your self-compassion pause. This is about self-compassion. Do the self-compassion pose. Make contact with yourself. I tell you to take off your shoes and make contact with the ground and the earth and feel all of that. But sometimes the number one thing that you need to make contact with is yourself. Give yourself a hug. You know that you have these feelings inside of you, and it's okay. It's all about, taking those wonderful deep breaths. And how does that body make you feel? How does your body change? You know, doing your 3-minute breathing exercise. I got the hiccups now. That's not good. Your 3-minute breathing exercises. How much easier does that get? It's 3 minutes. Start out slow. It's okay. It's asking yourself, how am I doing right now? I always tell you that you need to ask yourself, how am I doing right now? Earlier today, I asked myself how I was doing, and it wasn't that good. I was having a little more anxiety than usual. A couple things happened, and it was starting to bother me, but I stopped, and I went, wait a second. Listen to what I say, and then how am I doing? How am I feeling? I acknowledged what kind of set me off. I acknowledged what was going on, and I started doing my breathing. I started noticing that as I was doing it, and what you do is you pay attention. Did my shoulders went down. I kind of rotated my neck around, got some blood flowing. I got out of where I was and changed my scenery. I took a little walk. Just a little one, but I took a little walk to get out, to understand, to kind of move myself out of my situation. And it did help. And it's not easy for me. It's not going to be easy for everybody to keep a quiet mind. You have to acknowledge those thoughts. You have to acknowledge how they feel. Don't ignore them. If the more I would have tried to ignore my feelings, the worse it would have gotten. And I didn't want to have that happen. I had to observe those feelings. I had to acknowledge those feelings. I was trying to figure out where they came from, why it was happening. Didn't repress them, just went with it, experiencing them. These are the things that you need to do. That's why, I'm into Weeble Kung Fu. If one thing works, great. Check it down, mark it. If something else doesn't, if something doesn't work, okay, great. Write it down, check it off, write note next to it. Weeble Kung Fu is that whole idea that, you're going to bend. Some days you're really going to bend far, but that's okay. Take note of your mental state. Take note of it. Make that online appointment. Call a friend. Call a service line if you need to. I belong to a couple groups where we talk to people. We talk to them online. And if you don't feel like you can actually verbally talk, there are chat lines out there. One of the things that I do is it's a chat line to where it's all text and chat. That way you can ask questions, you can get out your emotions, you can do all this other stuff, but you never actually have to verbally talk. So it kind of depends on how you want to do that. And make sure that you're taking note of your mental state. Always check in, because this is about self-compassion. And we know why it's hard. We know why it's hard, especially depending on how you grew up. What was your parent or guardian like? How does that affect us now? All these things that we've been talking about. Keeping track of other people's mental state, which I know is kind of weird, But sometimes, if you see somebody struggling, ask them honestly. If you now only do this if you feel like you're capable and you have it within you to listen. A lot of people need to vent, but they don't really want somebody else telling them how they should feel. And that's all right. There are times that somebody will call or make an appointment and they're like, what I really need to do is I really just need to vent. I really just need to get out all these emotions. And so I'll ask, do you want my advice or do you just want me to listen? And I have to be prepared for either thing. And it's hard when you want to give somebody that advice and you can't do it. And I think, you know what? It's okay, because this isn't about me. It's about them. I'm taking care of me so I can help take care of somebody else. If I wasn't taking care of me, holy moly, it would make things so much harder. So I want you to remember that it's okay. It's okay to take care of yourself first. It's okay to put you first. It's all about self-compassion. It is all about self-compassion. And remember that I repost all of my shows, all of my stuff, especially it's on my Facebook page, it's on my YouTube page. You can always make an appointment, but these are things that, one more time, things that you can do for you, how important that is. So I want to thank everybody for listening today and being here with me. It has been my sincere pleasure to even be a small part of your journey. And I hope it's been calming and soothing. But most of all, I hope that wherever you are, you're leaving just a little bit closer to who you want to be. Maybe who you wish you had growing up so that you can help somebody else. So I'm Shirley Ann's clinical hypnotherapist, activist, mental health first responder, crisis counselor, all around everything at Whispering Zen Hypnotherapy and Wellness. And I work together with my clients. Maybe you could be one of my clients. Maybe you are one of my clients. But we work as a team to find the best way to get you back to feeling a little more like you. And you don't have to be worried and afraid, because we're going to work slow and we're going to work easy. And we're going to find out what works best for you. And I work online, which is awesome, because that means that wherever you are, I can be there with you. And we don't have to worry about that. And if you're a little wigged out about the hypnosis part, I realize hypnosis is not for everybody. So let's see if we can work together. Let's see if it works out for you. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. That's what we do. So if you want to book a consultation, you can always go to whisperingzenhypnotherapy.com, or you can contact me on any of these social networks, which, like I said, I am everywhere under Hypno Fairy Godmother. Know that it has been my sincere and real pleasure to be a part of your day today and to help you out. And we're going to take one more really good deep breath. Deep, deep, deep breath. Hold it in and exhale with a smile, because the way we start our day is the way we want to end our day, with those nice deep breaths and that wonderful smile. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Remember to tell all your friends about the show, because that way we can grow and expand, and the more people we can help, the better. And I promise I will see you next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful day today.